So you've been saving up for months to finally put a down payment on your very first car. But you do not want something basic like a Civic or an Altima. You want something that will be cool, fast, and very fun to drive. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the 5 best rear-wheel drive sports cars that you can buy in the market right now for under $20,000. Remember, if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and let me know down in the comment section below what was your first sports car and what did you think about it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on with the video. So for the first car on this list, we are going to be talking about the second generation of the Bmw Z4. Now this car came with an inline 6 power plant that made 335 horsepower, which is very impressive considering that this is an early 2010s car. It also came in the convertible configuration, but it's a hardtop convertible, which means if you live in a place with a cold winter and you don't want to drive a car with a soft top convertible because it can get very cold, for example with a Miata or an S2000, it can get very cold if you live in places that have a lot of snow or have extended winters. So the fact that this BMW Z4 came with a retractable hardtop, it made it a whole lot better in terms of daily drivability and also with having fun because it improved the rigidity of the car, it made it handle a lot better, and the overall chassis is just a lot stronger and it can handle a lot more than what a soft top convertible car could. And now while this car doesn't have the prestige of a Porsche, a Miata, or an S2000, and it may not handle quite as well as a Porsche, a Miata, or an S2000, it does share the same kind of chassis with the Toyota Supra, which means it is going to be a good handling car, not quite as good as Porsches or other cars that are strictly built for handling mountain passes and on the track, but it will be very fun to toss around in the canyons, and it'll also be very reliable. The new Toyota Supra is very reliable, it shares the same bodywork, shares a similar engine, and so you know that you can get a lot of miles out of this car by just daily driving it and having a lot of fun with it. Now with the performance statistics aside, with the engine and the capability and the handling of this car, it is also a BMW, which means the interior is going to be very luxurious. It's going to drive very nice, going to be very comfortable to daily drive. You can turn it up into the sport mode or the race mode whenever you're out on the track or on some curvy canyon back roads. But overall, the interior, it's going to be very nice. It's going to be very nice to touch things. It's going to be very nice to ride in for both the driver and the passenger. And it's just overall high quality. It's going to last a long time. It's a BMW, of course. It will have problems. It'll be a bit expensive to maintain in the long run. But in the short term, the interior, very nice. Reliability, very nice. Maintenance will be very well taken care of. And overall, you don't have to worry a lot with this car. You can just go out and drive it and have a lot of fun. And now the second car on this list is honestly so much different. It's basically a complete opposite of the Z4. It is the Chevy Corvette C5. The interior on this car, it sucks. It's early 2000s, late 90s GM product. It's not gonna feel very nice to drive. Obviously, it'll handle a little bit, but it won't handle quite like a Porsche or any kind of BMW for that matter. But the thing that you're buying this car for is that LS1 engine. In my opinion, the LS1 is one of the greatest engines of all time. It has so much tuning capability and it has a lot of power from factory too. This car made 385 horsepower and it will outrun any of the other cars on this list very easily in a quarter mile. And it also has the highest ceiling in terms of tuning capability on this list. You can make LS1s on a stock block of upwards of 450-500 horsepower, and if you build the engine, I mean the sky's the limit with the LS1. You can make as much power as you want, it'll handle it, it'll put it down to the ground, and you can achieve some serious power numbers and have some serious speed out of a C5 Corvette. And now for this third car, I was really surprised to have it on this list under $20,000, but the prices have fallen a little bit since last fall. It is the Honda S2000. Now, a lot of the really nice S2000s, they do hover around the $30,000 mark, but you can find decent semi-high mileage ones for under 20 grand, and there's a good, selection of them to pick from. And now obviously with this car being a Honda, it did not come with a massive engine. It came with a 2.2 liter 4-cylinder engine that made 237 horsepower, but this car revs to 9,000 RPMs. And when that VTEC kicks in around 6,500 to 7,000 RPMs, it is really a hoot to drive. This car is so much fun. It's the best car on this list for back roads, for track driving even though it's not as fast as a lot of the other cars on this list. It can handle power and it can handle in the corners extremely well. And over the years, this car has come to become sort of a legend, especially within the JDM community, but within the car community as a whole. And it's simply because the handling of this car is unmatched by anything. This car can corner with the best of the supercars. It may not have the power on the straightaways, but in the corners, this car really shines. And this is, if you live in an area with mountains, with canyons, with a lot of back roads, and that's the kind of driving that you really want to do, and that's the kind of fun you want to have with your car, the S2000 is a steal for under $20,000 because you can get all that fun in a very high revving engine, and it's just a super nice car. It's honestly my favorite car on this list. So the fourth car on this list is for somebody that wants an in-betweener, and what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you don't want something that handles quite as well as a Miata or an S2000, has a bit more power than those cars, but doesn't quite have the muscle or the power numbers that cars like the Camaro, the Mustang, and the Corvette can put down. A good in-between car for you would be the 370Z. Now this car launched in 2008, comes with 332 horsepower, which is very respectable even today, and you can have a lot of fun with this car. Comes in a hardtop version and a convertible version, comes in an automatic and a manual. There's just a lot of options that you can choose from with this car to really suit what you want from your first sports car. Or even if you are a veteran car enthusiast, I think you'll still have a lot of fun with this car. The engine is very tunable on this car. You can make upwards of 500 horsepower. It handles boosts from turbos and superchargers pretty well. And it's a Nissan, so it's going to be very reliable. It's going to be semi-comfortable on the inside, not going to be quite as nice as the BMW that I mentioned earlier on this list, but it's going to be a heck of a lot better than the S2000 or the C5 Corvette. You're going to be able to put a lot of miles in this car, a lot of hard driving, and honestly have a lot of fun. Whether you want to do roll racing or you want to drive back roads and canyons, you can build this car for pretty much anything, even drifting. This car is a great drift car. There is just so many sectors and pieces of the car community that you can go into with a 370Z. It's really the best all-arounder in the market, especially for under $20,000. And now for the fifth and final car on this list, it is the most prestigious car on this list, and it's the second generation of the Porsche Boxster. Yes, you can find a lot of these surprisingly for under 20 grand. Despite the cult following with Porsche, the die-hard enthusiasts, and the way that Porsches hold their value, the Porsche Boxster, especially the second generation and even the first generation, has not really held its value well. So it's a very nice sports car steal because you get a nice convertible, you get Porsche handling, you can option it in a manual, and you get that beautiful flat six with those beautiful flat six noises. And now we know that Porsche has a lot of racing heritage. It's known for its fast, good handling cars. It's built its entire brand around handling, basically cornering cars. We know that their cars are the absolute best. They're the pinnacle of track day driving. But with this Porsche Boxster, you also get a good daily driver. The flat six in the second generation is actually very reliable. There's a lot of space that you can put things, especially in the front. And this is just a car that you can buy as a good weekday driver. It'll get you from point A to point B, whether that's the grocery store, to work, and back to home. And it will also be a great weekend warrior. You can take this car out on back roads on the weekend and absolutely tear it up. Or even the track if that's your thing. If you like going to the track, this will be the perfect car for you. And so if you're actively looking for a nice sports car under $20,000, I really hope that this video will be able to help you, and it'll expand your search options a little bit and just give you an idea of what's out there and what you can pick up. But as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, and if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing and following along for more content like this. But for now, this is Scion Life, signing out.